Hey, welcome everyone to today's special episode of Profit Acceleration Secrets. And today we are conducting a profit acceleration coaching session. I am so delighted to welcome my guest, Angela McCree. Angela, how are you doing today?
Hello, I am well, and good morning, everyone.
All right. Well, Angela, before we dive into just coaching and learning more about some opportunities to help you and your business get to the next level, I love it if you could just take a moment to introduce yourself, give us an overview of your business. Anything from when did you start, why did you start? Tell us about you.
All right. Well, again, I'm Angela McCree. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist associate, which just means that I am 2 years post grad. I received my master's at 51. I am 53. I turned 53 August the 6th. Just wanted to throw that out there.
No. Well, first,
um,
happy belated, and this is a true Black don't crack moment.
huh.
You, you would have had me pegged. I'm 43, and I'm looking at you like she look young.
Ooh, well, thank you, baby.
Fantastic.
um,
Happy belated. Happy belated.
Thank you. Thank you. I started Aspiring Wellness in 2022 after being laid off. I did my internship while I was pre-grad for a nonprofit organization, and they hired me right after I graduated December 2021. And the process of me getting my license and all of that, I took my exam and everything for the state. And one day I got called into the office and they said, it's been a while and we haven't heard back from the state yet whether you've passed your exam. And I said, yes, I know, I'm waiting as well. And they let me go.
Hmm.
The amazing thing is the very day after they let me go and deactivated all of my emails, business emails, and everything connected to them was when the state board sent the response that I had passed my exam and that I was now licensed.
Nice.
That incident sent me into a whirlwind. I lost my apartment. I lived in my car for about 4 weeks. I was still seeing clients. So what I did was I was in the Austin area here in Texas, and we have a beautiful library downtown Austin. So they knew me in the library. I would go to the library, book a room, set up my computer, my laptop and everything, see my clients, and that was my routine every day. I got a gym membership so that I could shower, get myself together every morning. I would go to the library, stay at the library all day, seeing clients, and then I would return to my car, back to my faithful parking spot. And I kept saying, okay, Lord, this is what I have to go through. Then it hurts, but we're going to work it.
Nice.
My daughter, I didn't tell my children. All my daughters are adults. My oldest one is in South Carolina. Her and her husband have given me four beautiful granddaughters. And my daughter that's here in Odessa, she's been teaching out here for 5 years. And then my youngest, she lives with dad. She's getting ready to graduate UT Arlington
Nice.
um, in December. And I didn't want to worry them. So my mentor, who is also my supervisor um, under the board, he said, I think you need to tell your family what's going on. And at that moment, I think I broke. That was when I broke. He said, you got too much pride. And I was like, it's not pride. I just don't want to work. He's like, no, it's pride. And let's just call it what it is.
Mhm.
And I called and let everybody know. And my daughter said, Mom, come on, come to Odessa. So I came out here and I've been going ever since. I just rented my first office ever in June. And so now I have a location where I can see people in person here in downtown Odessa. Um, Everyone was saying, "Oh, I know that's going to be expensive. That's expensive." I have a beautiful office for $500 a month. So I know that was God opening up that door for me. Um, I say all that because I want people to know that's the kind of therapist I am. That's the kind of person I am. This is my call. And just because things don't always work out the way that we think they should, um, we climb the ladder and then they move the rings up a little higher and say, well, no, now we think you got to come up here. So we can't give up and we can't allow those things to overtake us. However, we also have to be there for one another. There's this tool that we teach called self-regulation. And self-regulation is really you understanding yourself and knowing what your triggers are so that when you meet those circumstances that will push those buttons, you recognize that and you don't have to go there.
Yeah.
You do whatever it is that you need to pull yourself back in to calm your own nervous system. And that those are excellent tools. However, I also teach co-regulation. We all need a tribe. We all need that group or other individual that we can talk to and they can empathize with us.
Mhm.
However, every once in a while, give us that swift kick and say, you know what? What are you doing? This is not you. This is not your end. Your story is still being written. So let's go. What's the solution? Which leads into the solution-based therapy that I do. Some clients come in and they just have a specific problem, a specific issue, and they don't know what to do. And so I tell them, okay, we're going to do solution-based therapy. We're going to look at your situation, and then you're going to basically tell me what things that need to be done.
Mhm.
What can you do? Because you basically are the expert of your life. I'm just the go along. I'm the tribe. So there's a lot of I call it wisdom, but it's experience. It's going to be difficult for you to help anyone through a situation that you have not been through or hasn't touched you in some way, shape, or form. And so throughout my life, and especially when I was in ministry, I learned that all the times we're asking God, well, why do I have to go through this? If you don't go through it, the next person that comes along, you won't be able to help. So that adage that, bad things happen to bad people. And if you do good, good will come to you. It's like, no, life happens to us all.
Correct.
And that's Ecclesiastes when it talks about everything is in a season. There's a time to laugh, a time to cry, a time to mend, and a time to rent, to pull apart. And then it goes and says, but time and chance happens to us all. And it's about understanding what the purpose is in those things that happen, whether it's good, bad, whether it's ugly. And so I do a lot of, in a sense, kind of coaching as well. And I want anyone that I'm connected to know what the process is. The process is you understanding you. Self-awareness is always going to precede self-care. You can't care for what you don't know. Once you're aware of you, then it's time to find out what are these things going on within my nervous system. because that is what our emotions, that's where they're housed. They're in our nervous system, and they're given to us for a reason. And so self-care is always going to be the first prescription here at Aspiring Wellness. And understanding that everything that we go through, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, is a part of our lifespan. And we just need to get to a place where we understand the purpose. Doesn't mean we can't cry. We need to cry. We need to yell. We need to be angry sometimes. However, get the understanding of why it's happened. And that's a part of what I do. I'm really a teacher by nature. And so if I can give you the tools, I'm expecting you to also, when I give you these tools, you help your friends. I appreciate you sending them to me. However, now you have the knowledge
Yeah, pay it
to
forward.
pass on. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Absolutely. Well, Angela, I already, I'm over here. I'm just like, man, I could sit here and just, we could talk like this all day. Um, let me ask you this, just because what we were talking about before we, started our broadcast here is the importance of mental health, just, mental health, period. Getting
Mhm.
it into our Black and Brown communities. Can you just take a minute to tell us the importance, for any of the folks watching with us now, for any of the folks that plug into this conversation when we get it posted? And then we're going to turn deeper into your business model. But I like to just kind of get a word out there on why this is important for our communities.
Yes, sir. Um, so we know about our history, and what we're up against is basically called the slave mentality. And Dr. Joy DeGruy wrote a book called Post Traumatic Slave Syndrome.
Mm.
And it really hits it on the head about what we go through as Black, African American, people of color, colored people, whatever you want to label us. Because that's another thing that people don't understand. We never got the opportunity to truly know who we are and where we come from. We would have to spend thousands of dollars going back in history in order to find that out. And so all of these names that we're called are labels that other people placed upon us. And that's the first need for mental health care for us, is to unfold, who are you? Who are you? We get to build our own culture. However, a lot of us don't have roots of culture. Whereas, and what I mean is, the Native American can go back and say they're from the Choctaw tribe, or they're from and even when I was stationed over in Hawaii, there are certain things that you are not privy to, you can't get access to because you don't have that. I think it's 18% and above in your bloodline. And so what I really look at with us is, it's not about what other people think about us. It's not about even the racism or how people feel. We need to know how people feel. That way we can know how to move and ebb and flow in this world. It's about, what do I think about me? We take on these mentalities. Oh, I'm a hustler. Oh, I'm a bad bitch. Oh, I'm this. And it's like, all that is fine, but that's the shell of who you are. That's what you use so that you can keep going. We put the armor on, kind of like Iron Man. You know how he gets in that suit, he
Mhm.
clicked that button on his wrist, and then the head thing comes down and the things come down on your arm. We put on this armor, and then we don't know who we are on the inside of the armor. So when it's time to stop fighting, when there's no need for a fight, we're still fighting,
Mm.
because we are really not understanding we're fighting for our place, for who we are in this world. And honestly, there's no need to fight outwardly. The fight is in here. The war is in here. And so when I even myself feel displaced or feel like, I'm sick of fighting, I'm tired of having to prove who I am. It's like, so why do you think you have to? Well, we get these messages. When you go into the corporate world, you're going to have to work 10 times as hard as everybody else, because no, you don't. No, you don't. And believing that does what? Puts you in anxiety.
Yeah, right out the gate.
Believing that gives you depression, because if you can't meet their standard, now you're wondering, what's wrong with me? I must be lazy. I must be this. It's like, no. There's a time for rest. And let me tell you something, when God give you rest, you better take it. Because that means when he gets ready to turn it back up, ain't gonna be no rest. There's gonna be no stopping on the side of the road. You didn't get your water bottle, too bad. So we have to get out of this mentality that we need to prove that we're better than everybody else. And we need to, no, we don't. And if I can say, we are better. Who built this world? Every brick, every paved ground, every fortune that was made on the backs of slaves.
There you go.
So we're not inferior. And that's where we really need to get a sober view. We go from one extreme to the next. We go from holding our head down. Don't you look at them white people. Don't look them in the eye. That was our grandparents and great grandparents. They went through that, right? You can't drink at that water fountain. You can't go in that restaurant. But then here we come, we gonna march, and we gonna this, and we gonna do these sit-ins, and guess what? None of that changed anything. And I'm not taking anything away from our pioneers in the civil rights movement. But what I'm saying is, what I teach, this world would not move if it were not for Black dollars. Would not move.
Well, and so even for me, as a father of two young kids, a 9 and a 5-year-olds, I teach a lot of the history of Egypt and South Africa. And,
oh, yes.
So all that to say, building pride, building confidence, community. Again, even the foundations of this podcast here is obviously to get out and support Black business leaders like yourself, so that message, your expertise can extend all the way through. So no, Angela, I just already, like I said, we got out to a nice heavy start very quickly.
We
caught a really good vibe just when we were coming online together. I want to turn this over to you now, because the whole purpose of today is just to have a great discussion with you about business growth, any opportunities that you're pushing on for your business, again, so you can help support as many communities and local leaders as possible.
Mm-hmm.
In our time today, let's just say if we come up with 1 or 2 strategies that you think are worth implementing into your business that would allow you to kind of push forward over the next 6 to 12 months, what would that look like? What would your business look like over the next few months as you start gaining progress? What are some goals maybe that you have out there?
One of my main goals is to do retreats, present retreats, and not just let's go to the next town and do this and that, which is fine. I want to do that as well. But when we need rest, we really need to get away and see something different,
Mm-hmm.
and be in a different atmosphere. And so one of the events that is on my my website is a women's retreat, and I am opening up to men now. I have not received any response. I put it out in June, in June on the site, and it's all inclusive. So it includes airfare, it includes room and board, all of the teachings, all of the group, and I will be doing some one-on-one therapy. This is going to be in Costa Rica.
Nice.
I found a beautiful retreat location, um, Rancho Margot, and it's spelled Margot. If you want to look it up online, it sits in the center of the rainforest.
Mm.
They have they're growing their own vegetables. So every meal is farm to table and meals are included. They have a horse ranch, everything. And so looking at something like that for me was, you're not only coming to receive from me, but from the surroundings. And that is an important part of self-care. Being gracious enough to yourself so that you can have gratitude for the earth and everything around you. Another thing that I've been doing is presenting group therapy is really effective for individuals that would not come to individual therapy.
Mhm.
But if they can find a group to be involved with, it builds camaraderie. Um, you end up with a tribe because everyone there is there because of the specific, um, I hate to say diagnosis, but if it's a anxiety releasing group, if it's PTSD, if it's so everyone there is going through the same thing you're going through.
Yeah.
And
So,
so, and the
sorry.
relationship is one of the main parts of therapy. Um, Building that therapeutic relationship and then allowing individuals to build relationship with one another so that they do have a support system. So those are two of the things that I've been presenting to the community
Sure.
here and online. Haven't really gotten a big response. However, I will not stop presenting because I know the importance of it. I have led a couple of groups last year, and they were very successful for PTSD, and one was for sexual assault.
Okay.
To see
So,
people come together and glean from one another, not just from the person that's deemed to be the expert, but from one another, to me, that's progress, that's growth.
okay. So I guess my first question for you, Angela, is tell me about your perfect customer profile. So what does your perfect customer look like, either for any aspects of of your business, but then also for the retreats? What does that look like?
Um, it looks like an individual that is tired, that wants to be restored, wants some renewal in their life. Um, Whether it's anxiety, depression, mood disorders, whether they've just had an incident in their life that is traumatic. And that could be, so trauma is subjective. It's going to be different for each of us. So whether it's their favorite family pet passed away, or they had a breakup in a relationship, whether it was marriage or otherwise,
Mhm.
even if it's something grand to where they've lost a parent. Trauma is not just a few things. It's not just rape or murder or, something traumatic like war. Trauma can be, I can't feed my family.
All right. So,
And the premise of putting these different programs out and having them cost what they cost, if enough people that can afford to pay the cost, it can open the door for others that maybe cannot. I think that's important.
Well, let me ask this. So do you have, I'll say, like a avatar formally defined for your business?
Oh, okay. Talk to me about that.
All right.
When you
So
said avatar, I thought about my little memoji person. I don't know if that's what that means.
I have no idea. You said a memoji?
Yes.
A memoji. Well,
It
let's.
looks like me, but it's a cartoon person.
Oh, okay. So yes, right. The way that I usually describe it, if you are familiar with like the video games, like Madden, for example, where you can go create a football player and give them all the attributes of what you want them to have. Same concept, but now I want to recommend doing one for your business. So imagine, now for my clients right now, Angela, when I say, "Hey, tell me about your avatar," my clients know. All right, well, my avatar number one is a 34-year-old woman named Veronica. Veronica is going through A, B, and C. These are Veronica's fears. These are Veronica's motivations. This is why Veronica would do business with me. This is why Veronica would not do business with me. At the end of the day, this is the transformation that Veronica wants, right? So that's what an avatar starts to look like. You've defined, their demographics, you've defined some of their sociographics, like all of it, psychographics, like you have created a person that is going to respond to your messaging. I just pulled your website up here and I see a lot of opportunities to perhaps enhance some of your messaging as well, Angela.
Okay.
But I would say starting with, who am I talking to, right? So my kind of 3 standard questions for any business is, what problem do you solve? Who do you solve it for? How do you solve it? So essentially that avatar would start to answer question number 2. Who do you solve this problem for? So, you have things listed on your business here, like lifestyle coaching, career counseling, the retreats and group therapy, relationship coaching, wedding officiate. So that tells me there's an opportunity for at least 5 unique avatars right there. If those are going to be the different services in your business model, then they may be all the same avatar with 5 unique needs, or maybe they're 5 unique avatars. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask, for, just because you did highlight specifically your retreat and your group therapy, what marketing materials are you using to promote your business right now, to promote those programs?
I do post on LinkedIn. I use Eventbrite, Facebook. Every once in a while, I'll put something on Instagram, and those are mainly the avenues I use. I have printed out flyers before and went to the police department for the PTSD group and handed the flyer to the front desk. So just simple things like that. I am not the most marketing savvy or tech savvy.
No, fair enough. And in all fairness, now 90% of all the business owners I talk to will probably agree with exactly what you just said about market savvy, tech savvy. A lot of us, we start businesses because we want to go out and serve, right? A community of people that you clearly, I think, have the skills and the passion to support. But the only way they find out about you is based on how you market. So I tell all my clients, anytime you open your mouth, you are marketing first and foremost. I will say posting on social media is not marketing.
Okay.
So, and that usually bursts the bubble of some small business owners I talk to, because that's what 99% of everybody, and you hear it, right? Everybody's like, oh, you got to be on social media, blah, blah.
Right. And that's the
Yes.
only reason that I got social media, was because I kept hearing that you need to, get a Facebook, you need to get Instagram. And a lot of those platforms aren't good for therapists,
Correct.
because you posting things, and if you are following other people, they're posting things, and if someone is wanting to vet you, that's the first place they go, is your social media.
Correct. Well, and so that comes back to my comment earlier too about opportunities to improve the messaging again. And I'm just looking at your website here. Um, and I can get more detail perhaps off, I won't, off of our broadcast, but essentially, Angela, one of the things I teach to my clients is you have to establish what we call a market dominating position.
Okay.
So leveraging some messaging in your business that differentiates your practice from any other practice that's out there. And the way we start that process is that we have to understand that for our prospects, for our potential clients, there's a problem that they have that they do not want. And then there's a solution that they want that they do not have. And so your ability to understand, and this is why that avatar is important. So based on my avatar, what's the problem they have and don't want? What's the solution they want and don't have? Now, that's the messaging you put out there. So for PTSD, I don't have PTSD personally or anything. So this is just an off the cuff example. But if a problem they have and don't want is that they get really nervous when they walk into big crowds, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If it's somebody with trauma from the military or police departments or something. So now big crowds make them very anxious.
Yes.
But maybe they have young kids who have sports events. So the football season starting up, right? Big crowds. So now the problem they have that they don't want could be, I don't want to feel nervous or anxious or whatever when I'm around big crowds. The solution they want, but they don't have is I need a counselor, a therapist, a coach that could guide me through practical solutions that will allow me to enjoy big crowds and be there for my kids, right? So now your messaging, Angela, could be, do big crowds intimidate you? Are you looking for solutions that would allow you to relax in big crowds? You see where I'm going again?
Yes, I do.
Totally off the fly with that. But then the same thing for your retreats. Who are these retreats targeted towards? Couples or folks with very specific, illnesses or opportunities for mental health. And then you target them the same way. Or are they even capable of understanding the messages? Or would it be their partners or caregivers or significant others that you would have to message to instead? So those are just a blitz of quick examples. But that market dominating position, like I need to know that Angela and her practice at Aspiring Wellness, that's the go-to place for ... right? You fill in the rest. And so you have to differentiate yourself. So now you're the go-to, the go-to wellness practice for PTSD, for marriage, for, couples therapy, etc. So let me stop talking there and just ask, does that make sense or does it resonate some?
No, you can keep talking. No, that's excellent. I've always had that question, because so I also used to write grants. I'm a grant writer.
Okay.
And that's the thing, what problem are you solving? Who are you solving it for? So you have to get all this.
Uh-oh. Angela, did I lose you?
Hear me. We good?
Oh. Yep,
okay.
You're back now.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So I like that concept, building an avatar. What things are going on with her or him? How can you help them? So it's a unique concept. I never thought of that.
All right.
So would you actually make, maybe I'm going too far. Are you creating avatars like these are actual characters,
Like,
or is
it's,
this just the concept?
no, all the way down to one of my recent clients, who does some therapy work. Her avatar was almost like a mix of Michelle Obama and Jill Scott. So we literally named her Giselle Obama. But then using AI, all this AI stuff nowadays, we recreated a picture. It was like, what would Michelle Obama and Jill Scott look like if they were combined? Which was an absolutely beautiful picture of a person. But this is a picture now, so we're not talking to clients and prospects. Now the messaging, when we're coming up with ideas for marketing for the different services that she offers, she's talking to Giselle, right? So what does Giselle need to hear to help her understand that she needs her expert help? And so,
Mm.
yeah, no, I mean, it's not a concept. The more real you make it, then in that example, you are going to connect with all the Giselle Obamas in the world who hears your message. But again, because you have multiple services, you could have one targeted, you have Giselle, and then you have Scott, and then you have Michael, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, Ralph, and Johnny too, right? So, um, but yeah, embody the avatar, bring them into your business, and then that is a really solid way just to create that value proposition that I think you're really trying to find business wise. But then the last question, right? So how do you solve the problem? So let me ask Angela, do you have your sales process physically mapped out?
No, I'm going to say no because I don't even understand the question.
Okay. So basically, so when I say sales process, how many steps or how many touches do your prospects have to go through with you before they give you money? Right.
Oh, okay. I understand what you mean now.
So yeah, now for some folks, it may take 2 steps, 3 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that process is as easy as possible, as streamlined as possible. So one, you can provide a service that's going to help this community of people that need you. Number two, so they can give you money, because unfortunately you're a business. You need to develop a profit so you can continue to serve.
Right.
Um, so, Angela, this is the superpower. All you need right here is a basic sticky note to go ahead and say, step one, I do this. Step two, I have a one-on-one call with this prospect. Step three, I share a quote for my 3-month program, my 6-month, my 12-month program, whatever the steps may be. But I would truly encourage you to put it on paper.
Okay. So
And
I have a question for you then.
yes, ma'am.
In that sales process, are you saying, so you're on my website.
Mhm.
When you go to the website, you can actually book and schedule your own appointment on the website.
Well, so let me ask this question, and
Okay.
to what you just said. If I can schedule, it is not okay. Well, no, it's not clear. Okay,
Okay.
it's at the very bottom of your site. I found it. So I don't usually advocate that having a schedule now is that shouldn't be the first offer. So my question for you, Angela, is: do you have any lead magnets in your business?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to create some lead magnets. So a lead magnet could easily be, and I see one of my clients now, Chrissy, just popped on and said hello. So she and
Hi,
I are
Chris.
kind of working through this now. A lead magnet could easily be an ebook. It could be a checklist for what you're doing, Angela. It could be it could be almost like a small survey. Do I need to see a wellness counselor or wellness coach, right? Like, and you can have 3 questions to help you make a decision on a wellness coach. But something that would appeal, again, we have to know who we're talking to. So your
Mhm.
avatar. So based on the avatar, what's their number one need? Wow, maybe they just have the FAQ. So what are 10 questions that people may have about your business or your services and how it can help them? And you just create a very quick and easy, hey, these are my top 10 frequently asked questions about what I do. Right. So now people are just going to click that and download it to get information about you, your product, your services. And then what's called a drip campaign could be something that nurtures them into a buying relationship with you. So those are, I mean, again, I'll stop there, but the schedule a free 15-minute consultation. Number one, if you're going to do it, put it at the top of your page, not the bottom. But then
Mm.
number two, honestly, lead magnets all day, every day, nonstop.
Okay. Well, I told you it sounded like I needed you when we first met. So,
No, well,
yes.
I mean, these are I think some very solid fundamental strategies because again, with the work you're doing, I mean, crisis therapy, couples therapy, a big old word here, Angela, that I don't even want to mess up on my own podcast right now. Um,
A big
so
word.
psychedelic
Psychedelic psychotherapy.
psychotherapy, ketamine assisted. I think I got that mostly right.
Yes.
Um, but yes, ma'am. Chrissy says she agrees. I'm sure she's talking about the lead magnets. But yes, ma'am. So lead magnets,
Okay.
especially with the work you're doing, or I guess teach me this really quickly, and then we'll wrap up because I
Yes.
feel like I went way over my time with you.
I'm sorry.
No, this is
It's
good.
probably because I listen so much that when I get a chance to talk, I think I just overdo it. So
No, you're good. In my head, I'll keep this conversation going. That's why I was like, I gotta stop myself sometimes. Um, Let me ask, are you able to work with clients all over the place, or do they just have to be in Texas? What's the span of your reach with your services?
I am only licensed here in Texas right now.
Okay.
All of my clients would have to be Texas residents.
Okay, but that
As
not
far as
specific to
the
Odessa. They could be anywhere in the state of Texas.
right, anywhere in
Okay.
Texas. And
All right.
Texas is its own country.
Yeah. Yeah. I,
Now the retreats are open to anyone
okay.
all over the world.
Perfect. Well, I think, I mean, even Texas alone is a very large state with, again, I'm sure a lot of potential clients. I have family members in San Antonio. My uncle was in the Air Force. So just looking at some of these services, I know they would easily align with military personnel. So I think you have a good customer base, but now imagine being Texas's number one wellness practice for, right? That's a differentiator. So that's kind of still plays along into everything we just shared. But let me kind of wind us down, Angela, and I love to just ask any takeaways from our conversation that resonates, something you think you may try to take the next step on.
I am definitely going to um, look into this avatar,
All right.
business avatar. Also, it's really making me want to go back and reevaluate my website
Mhm.
and rearrange some things so that, like you were saying, what is most prevalent can catch the eye instead of them having to search for something or okay, how do I do this? How do I get into this? Um, the lead magnets, understanding I believe I have the idea, but wanting to just understand a little more on how to set those questions and where they should be on the website. So it looks like I'll be working with you.
Well, I was gonna say, I got a couple of notes. I'll send you some quick and easy resources as well after our call here. And we could definitely talk about anything I can do to support you. But no, this was, I feel it was beneficial, but just in return, Angela, what you share with me, the fact that you had a vision for this, you started pursuing it, you lost your, job opportunity at the time, you've built yourself back up from literally being in your car to now being in your first official office to work with your patients and your clients. I want to commend you. This is the stories that that you won't find it in nobody's business book or MBA university classes. Like, this is real life entrepreneurship. So I just want to say hats off to you for everything that you're building, and I appreciate the chance to talk to you on my podcast like this.
Once again, it's an honor, and I thank you. I don't see this as a coincidence. Um, I feel very, very honored to understand the concepts and things that you have to share as well. I feel like I've gotten a lot in this short time, and you know what you're doing. I'm going to say that you know what you're doing because you make it to where it's like a well cooked meal. Come and taste this. Oh, that's good. When I'm gonna get a bowl? When can I get a bowl? Is it time to eat? Where's the place? So you
All right.
it's you market yourself without marketing yourself. And I love that. I love it. It's building relationship, and then this is what I know. Um, and this is how it matches up with what you know. And so I love that. So yes.
I appreciate that, and I am totally stealing that feedback. This is it's like a perfect recipe. I love that analogy because I am such a foodie. So,
I am too.
all right, now Angela, again, thank you just for this entire time, this fantastic conversation. For everyone that's plugging in, thank you all for making us a part of your day. So until next time, this is Jarvis and Angela wishing you all more leads, more customers, and more profits. Take care, everybody.
Bye.